How do you draw the manga style? Well, I've been trying to dissect and understand the manga style for the past 2 weeks because I'm making the 3rd chapter of my comic collection in that style. And I've noticed 5 things that helps me draw my drawings in that particular style, and the last one sort of blew my mind. Just like when I told my anime-loving girlfriend that I did not like Demon Slayer. I'm more of a Death Note kind of guy, know what I'm saying? So I spent most of the morning basically trying to come up with a story for the manga. So what I've decided was, a long time ago, I made this animatic for a potential short film I was going to make called The Two Wolves. Looking back, I think it's best for me to take that particular animatic, that particular story about the two wolves that exist in the hearts of all thief folks and people. Basically take that thing and turn it into a manga. The shape language is basically all about which attributes of the core shapes are you using in your drawing. And using different shape attributes gives a different look to the same drawing. And most of the art that I came across that's classified as a manga usually use the language of a triangle. That means sharp edges and angles. Each character, if you look at it, uses core shapes from head to toe. And the manga style particularly uses the sharp edges and angles of the triangle to guide the core shapes, thus guiding the edge lines and the overall shape of the character. So me simply creating more shape angles and edges on my faces helped me achieve more of a manga look. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get my brain to sort of match that world of anime, because I'm just so used to drawing cartoons, right? I need to do something in order to match my brain with the sensibilities, the design languages, and all the different things that goes with the word anime, right? So I've got a couple of these anime style books open right here. So I'm sort of soaking it in. So one I have is like Beyblade. When I read, as a little kid, one of the first ever mangas that I've read. And this one is Brody's Goes by Mark Riley. He's an American artist, but he's a great manga guy. So I'm just sort of keeping these things open, and I'm sort of then also bringing in some of the shows that I've watched, like Death Note, Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm trying to see, okay, what makes anime anime? Most of the old manga that I came across have a more of a cartoony and kiddish style of drawing people. But the current and the more serious ones are using bodily proportions that are more closer to life. And that means the proportions are similar to that of like a proper typical human being. And also they're drawn with extremely solid forms and gesture as a good base for the pose. That means use good perspective, draw good forms for your poses, and make sure your head forms are solid. You're gonna get some of that manga-esque look, bro. But if you contrast that with American style of cartoons, where they exaggerate pretty much every core shape of the body and bodily features and facial proportions of the character. I have finally started inking my manga. I have finished the rough pencils. Now I'm in the inking phase, and turns out this is going to take a lot more time than I thought it will take. It's 21 pages which I need to ink, and I can like it. What I don't like is the time it's going to take for me to finish this thing. See, I noticed some techniques that were constantly repeating over and over again under the style that was born out of a result of a constraint that this medium had. See, manga was mostly drawn on paper and ink with gray tones. Then it was published in black and white, printed on cheap paper. So it made economic sense back then because it was 1, easy to draw fast because you gotta draw a lot of chapters, and 2, it was cheap to produce and distribute. And this constraint led to the birth of certain manga-esque techniques, such as using expressive hatching and cross-hatching across the different characters and sceneries and environments of a page, using of solid black inks in some places to represent shadow. And this is also similar to the ones you see in American comics. Interesting. The next one was the use of gray tone papers to add value and a sense of depth to your page, because you just have one value right here, which is the gray tone. So you just got one value and another black, right? 2 things to play with, and that gives birth to that manga-esque look. See, if you want to draw a manga character, the 4th thing that I noticed was you gotta make them look pretty and cute. You might have come across this theory that all manga characters are based on the facial proportions of a cat. draw a character, a manga face on top of a cat, you'll pretty much get a proper manga face. It sort of makes sense because manga is characterized by its big eyes and short mouths and angular faces, which makes the character look cute. And that's why cats look cute, because the way you sort of proportionately place the eyes and the mouth. And that's also the reason why babies are cute. And that's why all manga characters, if you look at them, they look extremely attractive, pretty handsome, and pretty much a walking embodiment of me, as you can see. Alright bro, here's the last thing. This thing freaking blew my mind. After learning about all these techniques, I realized manga is not about all these techniques. It's about this one final thing, the most important thing that makes manga a manga, the thing that makes manga sell more than comics. And it's this. It's this innate and deep-rooted affection the culture in total has for the aspect of storytelling. Telling a good story and placing this extreme sense of importance in exploring an emotional or the emotional aspects of a character. That's why manga is very dramatic. So that means you gotta frame and position your character in dynamic ways, you see those often, and ways that expresses a lot of emotions and explore deep depth and nuances of your characters. That's what makes manga manga. And I'm just scratching the surface right here. There's way more to the style that I'm sort of, putting out here. But this is a good start. These are all hacks. These are not just principles. The first one is probably a principle. It's a good principle to have. But these are all generally hacks. But what makes manga manga is sort of incorporating all these things and then adding a bit of your own stuff to it. And that's what makes it manga. By the way, I want to tell you guys an important thing, which is subscribe to my 3-minute newsletter that I send every Thursday, where I share 3 points about art, life, creativity, and business. Yeah, I've been writing it for a long time, and 30,000 people read it every single week. So yeah, go read it.